Alright, so let's first go ahead and log into your codepen. After you log in, you can see I have absolutely nothing here. So let's go ahead and create our first pen, and we do that by clicking on New Pen, and that'll go ahead and create a new part for us. Yours might look like this or may not. You can change the orientation of the pen down here. So let's go ahead and use this one down here in the corner. That will put our code on the left and then our view on the right, like that. There you go. All right, and I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so we can get everything together. And there we go. So nice thing about CodePen is instead of having to use Sublime to go ahead and write our code and then save it and then display it in the browser, we can go ahead and write our code here and then have it displayed. The big difference in this is that what we're typing in this section here is only what's inside the body tag. So there's no HTML5 tag, there's no head tag, there's no title, all that. So it just allows us to play around a little bit and see how these elements work. Whoa. Okay, what happened there? Okay, so let's go ahead and write some HTML. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to use a div tag. A div tag is a block tag that we can use to describe whatever we want to. So let's we use actually to do that, there's some shortcuts we can use. Before I even put in a less than symbol for my tag, if I just type in div for that div tag and then press tab, it automatically puts that in. Isn't that nice? Alright, so I'm going to press enter and make some space because everything, the rest of the stuff I'm going to use is going to be inside that tag. You'll also notice up on the top this thing is shaking up here to remind you to save your pen. If you don't save it, then you leave the page. You won't have it. But other than that, you'll have it. And you'll have it anywhere you want it to go. So I'm going to put in here let's put in. Okay, this is a box, and you can see that now it renders in the other side. Now I can go ahead and do some styling on that. And so I'm going to come down here. Oh, wait a second. I cannot style it yet because I have to put in here. I have to do something to describe it so I can go ahead down here and program or write some styles for it. So we have two choices. We can either do a class or we can do an ID. And the difference between the two of them is that IDs have to be unique to the page. So if I say this is ID equals my box, then I cannot have another div down here called my box. But if I did use class instead, then in my HTML I can have a bunch of div class, div class, div class. And the reason why we use that is so that I can go in here and describe class just once, and then it's rendered in my HTML more than one time. So if we want something unique, ID. If we want something that we're going to be using over and over again on the page, we use class. How it's coded is almost identical. We use a dot for our classes, and we use in fact, let's go ahead and let's just do one of each and see how that works. I'm going to go ahead and type in div again, press tab. Now I have two elements. I'll press enter. I'll say this is another box just so we can see where it is. You can see it's one right underneath the other. And then I'll give this one a class, not a class, an ID, and make that equal to, I'll call this ID box, just to give it a unique name. Okay, we don't want to make it the same as the name of a class. Alright, so first we'll go ahead and we'll do the first box. So since this is a class, we'll do dot my box, and then a parenthesis, and then a brace. Inside these braces is how we're going to just describe the style of that box. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give it a height. And I'll make that, say, 50 pixels. And you can see as soon as I did that, push this other one down. These are both block elements, so they're going to be on their own line, and they're going to stretch across the entire page on that. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a width. And I'm going to make that 100 pixels. And we see nothing. All right, so nothing changes when I go ahead and do that. But what I can do is I can give it a border. And the border is going to be, let's just make that 2 pixels, make it a nice dark line. We'll make it a solid line. And again, and then, well, this is automatically going to make it black, but we'll go ahead and put black in there anyway. So now we can see where the border is of that element. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is then I'm going to say, well, this is caught up in this top left corner. So I'm going to go ahead and move it away from the wall, the top and the bottom. And I do that with padding. So in padding, I'm going to go ahead and make it a 10 pixel pad. And you can see now it is moved away from it. Now the padding actually has 4 separate things that we can do. 10 pixel, when I just do one, it says, okay, well, that's top, right, bottom, and left. If I was going to say that, okay, well, 10 pixels top and bottom and 20 pixels, now it moves it because now it's got a 10 pixel top and bottom. That's the first one, and a 20 pixel left and right. Or I can do 4 of them all the way across. I can say 10 pixels, 20 pixels, 10 pixels, 20 pixels, and that would be top, right, left, bottom. Just have to remember for the box model, that's how we go ahead and describe the different properties that we have. Top, right, bottom, left. Okay, and okay, the next thing we're going to do is do a margin. And the margin is going to be, let's make that 5 pixels, just so we make it something different. And you can see when I did the margin, and the margin has the same thing. It's top, bottom, left, and right. And what we did is we pushed it 10 pixels from the left and 10 pixels down. In fact, 5 pixels. Let's make that more. Let's make that 25 pixels so we can see a big difference. There we go. So now we can see it's top, right, left, and if we went over to the right, we would see that border. So we're building a nice box. Let's go ahead and give it a background color. And I'm going to make this aqua. So now we can see how this is rendered. In fact, let's go ahead and make it the border. Let's make that a 20 pixel border, just so we can see how big it is. So when we take a look at the box model, and that's what we're going to do next, is we're going to do this same rendering, except we're going to do it in Sublime, open it up in Chrome, and then inspect each of the elements that we have created. But for now, let's just go ahead and save this one. And I'm just going to hit the save. And now I have that pen created. And then it goes back. We don't need this.